Welcome to the Wild and Free with Anna Love podcast. I am your host, Anna Love. Wild and Free was born to inspire women to release old patterns that have kept them from living their best life. As a subconscious freedom specialist, I strive to reprogram and reframe generational trauma, not only in myself and the lives of my 3 daughters, but for those who are ready to transform anxiety, fear, and shame into authenticity, freedom, and love. Whether you are 20 years old or 70 years young, buckle up for raw and honest explorations in doing the work necessary so that you may shine your brightest light from your heart and onto the lives of others. Welcome to Wild and Free with Anna podcast. Now, today we are talking about cultivating self-compassion, the key to inner peace and power. So this is the space where we awaken our soul, we dissolve your inner blocks, and we help you reclaim your freedom, power, and radiance. And when I bring up the topic self-compassion, I'm actually also simultaneously bringing up the topic of inner critic. And what does our inner critic have to do with having self-compassion for ourselves? And when we have self-compassion, we are able to silence that inner critic. We are able to hear and receive the voices that are trying to keep us down and tell us that we are not enough and that we need to do more. Whatever it is that your inner voice is telling you, it's usually unique to you. Whatever that voice is that you're hearing, when we stop and we pause and we listen and we receive, we can then create space to say, I hear you and I understand that you're talking to me for a reason. And it's mostly because you want to protect me from something that is going on. And I also want you to maybe step back. I don't need that type of protection. I appreciate what you're doing, but it's time for me to override what you're saying, right? And I love the word grace. It's one of actually my tattoos because I think it's so beautiful. And it really means taking that loving, giving yourself a loving embrace and taking time to quiet that inner critic and really tell yourself that you are showing up exactly as the best you can right now. So let's dive into self-compassion, the inner critic, and just maybe taking a look at an example or two from my life or my client's life, sort of whatever comes up here in the podcast comes up. And as I'm speaking, I'd love for you as a listener to be thinking, how does this apply to your life? If there's anything that resonates with you, I'd love to hear from you. So self-compassion is more than just being kind to yourself. It is this deep, like I said, conscious practice and conscious awareness and honoring who you are, honoring your humanity, meaning honoring that you make mistakes and you are not perfect. And the things that, how you show up in life are an absolute reflection of your beliefs and your thoughts and your programming from your past. And if you have done inner work on yourself and you've looked at some of those shadows that are, lurking in the background of your life, then you start to clear out. I look at it like it's a drain pipe and things get clogged up through our life, right? All of our past programming, all of our limiting beliefs, all of our negative emotions are in this pipe, just weighing us down, right? And when we start to do that inner deep work, whether it's through hypnotherapy or you are doing some type of other modality with a coach or a therapist, or even just going deep with yourself or talking to friends, you start to clear out the drain. The clogs start to dissipate. And I call that self-compassion. I call that having grace for yourself because we are all humans having an experience here on earth. And it really is up to us to make our life, either quality and where we're feeling good and we're feeling happy and we learn these tools and we walk around with a toolbox, or we go through life feeling disempowered, feeling victim mindset, very much like I used to do. And that's okay. I have grace for myself and how I used to be. So speaking to yourself with your language, okay, when you hear that inner voice come in and it's a negative, disempowering voice telling you you're not good enough, speaking to yourself in a positive way, maybe even talking to yourself as if it's not even you you're talking to. It's like you're talking to a friend or somebody that you care deeply about. Because a lot of the times we don't cut ourselves any slack like we would other people. So speaking to yourself with tenderness and recognizing again that imperfection is part of the human experience, and really allowing yourself to have feelings without judgment. And yesterday, I'll just use an example from my life that I started to beat myself up with. My inner critic was not being very nice to me because I was having, you know, some difficulties with a couple of my girls. I have three girls, and, you know, there's just some shadow work there within them that, we've done a lot of, but there's still some remnants that are left over from the past, from the divorce. And I'm talking like 8 years ago. Some trauma happened and it's still showing up in daily communication or non-communication and daily interactions with us as a family. So, after I dropped them off at school, I just started, feeling really bad about myself as a parent. And actually I did. I started to spiral down the way that I used to feel years ago when I first had this divorce. I started to go back there. And it was very easy for me to be pulled back because that's the way it works with trauma. Once you clear something, the next time something shows up, you're able to not be as triggered, but sometimes there's still a little remnant of a belief that's still there. And I had to sit with myself and say, Anna, what are you believing? Why are you beating yourself up about this? And I realized that what it was I'm not enough. I was telling myself that what I'm doing as a parent isn't enough. It's not working. I'm screwing up my kids. It's all my fault. This whole thing was derived from the divorce. And then, I had to stop and I had to say, you know what, Anna, this doesn't feel good. And you already know what this feels like because you lived in this place for so long before and you've gotten yourself out. And once I was able to course correct, because I've done the work for so long now, I was able to really sort of let it go. And it felt good just to allow myself to let it go. And I brought the word grace in and I did a little meditation on self-compassion. I did, give myself love in that moment. I did give myself quiet. So I sat with myself, not speaking and just being with that part of me that still felt like I wasn't doing enough and everything was my fault. So I had these tools in my toolbox where I'm able to now pull them out and implement them just like that. These aren't things that I had before. I was absolutely unqualified to self-soothe and regulate my nervous system 7-8 years ago. And I just feel really proud of myself that I've gotten this far. So that's a prime example that things still creep in for me. And I really just gave myself grace yesterday and I gave myself time to heal and to let those old beliefs go and even the old emotions that were building up in my body from the belief of I am not enough and my kids are all messed up because of me. That's part one. Now, moving on. We live in a world that rewards perfection. It rewards comparison. It keeps us on our toes. It rewards productivity. And in that, we've learned to use that, comparison and the perfectionism, and I need to get things done, and I always have to be on. And if I miss one thing, I'm not good enough. And that's what led to my little bit of a breakdown yesterday. Was I was telling myself that my kids weren't doing well, so that means I wasn't. doing well. And it was a reflection of me, right? So I was projecting basically onto them and saying, well, what I see in them isn't good enough. So that must mean that I am not good enough. And it's that harsh talk. And we need to just, realize that we don't have to earn approval. I know that society sets us up for believing that, but when we approve of ourselves, no matter what, that is the self-compassion that's important here. And again, the more we practice that muscle of having love, even when someone's, fighting around us and we believe it's us, but it really isn't. But having that compassion, it starts to create a new muscle. Okay. And just like when you go to the gym and you lift some weights and your muscle gets bigger and gets stronger, and the next time you go in, you realize like, oh, I can lift something heavier now. This is the way it works with our emotional muscle as well. So yesterday I got stronger. Even though I felt weaker, I pulled out my tools, I implemented them, and then I realized that I was actually increasing the strength of myself, in that challenge. So I love to, have listeners that are like me listening, either their mothers or their leaders, or maybe you might be leading in your company or in your, your profession. But you might be feeling that you need to have it all together. And I'm just here to tell you, you do not, and have some self-compassion for that part of you that believes that you need to have it all together in order to be worthy. So letting that go, breathing through that, using your tools. And if you're saying like, look, I don't have any tools, breath work is a tool. Okay. EFT tapping is a tool. And we can talk about that in another episode. Maybe we'll do that next, a little EFT tapping. Just listening and acknowledging and being aware, that's a tool in itself. And really, that's kind of the most important tool. It is the beginning of the trail. To be aware has to happen before you start to know what you need to change or what you want to change or what isn't working. So honestly, if you're like, I don't have any tools, I don't know what breath work is, I don't know what EFT tapping is, I don't have a therapist, I don't have a coach, I don't have any tools. Again, have some self-compassion. If you are listening to this podcast, this is a tool. Okay. And listening to other podcasts, listening to books, jumping into courses, taking a retreat, all these things can be little layers that will start to build that emotional muscle for you. So something I'm really very obsessed with is talking about the parts of us that are actually holding on to that trauma, because we are most of the time fragmented, right? And the goal is, if there were to be a goal, to become whole and complete. And that means that each one of the parts of us that are holding on to past trauma, either emotionally or in a belief system in our mind, but it's stored as trauma in our body, right? Mind, body, soul connection. They all work together. If we are feeling some sort of resistance to what's going on in front of us, we need to ask ourselves, what part of us is holding on to that? And what I mean by what part of us, like, how do we even find out what that's this language of internal family systems, and not to be confused with multiple personality disorder. We all as humans have multiple personalities because we have been programmed to do so, right? And so who we show up as in with our friends is most likely different than who we show up with our grandparents or with our parents even, or with teachers, or when we're at work. We typically have different personalities, or we hide some. We put a mask on to cover up certain personalities that we know won't be accepted in a certain setting, social setting most of the time. And when we do that, we branch off from ourselves, we break off, we fragment off, and we create a part. Okay. And some of these parts do so because they have endured an event that we made meaning that it was harmful to us. Okay. And I've talked about this in other episodes, but it's very important. It's this very prominent thread that I weave through most of what I talk about, because it's very important that that's where the root of all of it is. So when we are noticing and becoming aware of, oh, my inner critic is going crazy today. It's really talking down and I'm feeling really bad in my body. And then, oh, Anna says we need to bring in self-compassion, but I don't know how to do that. Check with yourself. What part of you needs the self-compassion? What part of you is feeling low or talking down? Is it the part of you that, is maybe from a younger age? Maybe you were 10 and you felt this before. Maybe you were 15, maybe you were 3, and your unconscious mind knows. It stores everything. Your unconscious mind is very much like a photographic memory, and it stores everything that's ever happened. Every experience through all the 5 senses are stored on your timeline. That's why it's very important when you're starting to feel triggered to separate yourself from whatever you're doing. And like yesterday, I was in the car and I dropped my girls off at school and I literally pulled over and I had to have a moment with myself because my emotions were, brewing and I was about to get teary eyed. And, I didn't know how to get the emotions out and what to do with them. And I had all of these negative thoughts coming and I pulled over and I just did the inner work. I did it right there sitting on the side of the road and I was okay with that. Right. And I realized that it was my younger part feeling like I have to do more and I have to do more and I have to do more in order to be accepted. And everything was my fault. That wasn't okay. Right. So that was the part of me that was hurting. And that was the part of me that needed the self-compassion. So really, let's do just a short practice. If you're driving a vehicle, please pause this. Do not do this now. And if you are not driving a vehicle and you are in a place where you can just do this little practice with me, where you can close your eyes, I just want you to close your eyes and breathe in and out, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And do it 2 more times. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Good. And now just reflect on a time recently that you were hard on yourself. You were feeling a little extra mean. And I want you just to hold that gently and say to yourself, either out loud or silently, recognizing, right? We become aware this is a moment of suffering. All the while breathing in and out. And suffering is a part of being human. And on your next in-breath, may I be kind to myself in this moment. And then place a hand on your heart and let that love and that support move through you, knowing that you are not broken. No part of you needs to be fixed. You are becoming integrated. Good. And just open your eyes when you're ready. And really just observing and taking in that this episode is meant to give you that support, allow you to take a moment when you need it, and know that you are not broken. You are becoming the person that you are meant to be by coming more into yourself and integrating all of the parts that need love and need self-compassion. So thank you so much. If this episode resonated, let me know on Instagram at Heal with Anna Love. And let me know what part landed most. And if you want to go deeper, I have a Facebook group called Life Design Blueprint, where we explore more tools and more support for living wild and free and on purpose. And see you next time. If today's episode sparked something inside of you, I've got something special to help you take the next step. Check out my free ebook, Design a Life That Lights You Up: 5 Simple Steps to Quiet the Inner Critic and Discover a Deep Sense of Self-Worth. Inside, I walk you through step 1. Conquer the critic. Learn how to silence the negative voice in your head. Step 2, cultivate self worth. Build a foundation of confidence from the inside out. Step 3, listen to your body. Tap into the wisdom your body holds to guide your decisions. Step 4, embrace change and overcome fear. Break through the barriers holding you back. Step 5, visualize and set intentions. Align with your vision and create a life that truly lights you up. This guide is designed to help you reconnect with yourself, quiet the noise, and step into the life you deserve. Download your copy now by clicking the link in the show notes, and let's get started on your journey to a more joyful, purposeful life. Until next time, remember, you're worthy, you're capable, and your light is meant to shine. Ready to take the next step in designing a life you love? The Life Design Blueprint membership is your all access pass to exclusive tools, live guidance, and transformational support to help you move from self doubt to self worth. Building on the principles from the Design a Life That Lights You Up ebook, this membership is a deeper dive into creating a life that aligns with who you truly are. You will go beyond surface level self help with hypnotic techniques and live discussions that create real lasting change in your mindset and life. You will receive ongoing support from me and connect with a community of like minded women on a similar journey. Each week, I deliver an empowering hypnosis which offers a unique way of working with your subconscious to reframe limiting beliefs, elevate self worth, and reinforce positive habits. All of our sessions will be recorded and added to our on demand library for easy access to members. Join me by clicking the link below, and I'll see you on the inside. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Wild and Free with Anna Love and being a part of this magical journey with me. If you like this episode, make sure to subscribe and share with someone you love, even someone you just like. Bonus points if you leave a review. Show notes below gives you everything that you'll need to know, and I'll see you next time. So long for now.